All right. I think we're live. Joel, welcome.
What's up?
Welcome. All right. Thank you everybody for joining us live from Kuali Days 2024. We're here in sunny Long Beach, California.
It was cold yesterday, and
Yeah,
now it's warm.
pretty incredible weather.
California.
And which is kind of nice actually, because those conference rooms, I gotta say, a little frosty in there. They definitely kept us alert and awake. With me here today is the CEO of Kuali, Joel Dehlin. Welcome, Joel. Thanks for kicking things off for us here today. Excited to have you. So we're doing something a little different from our regular webinar series. Normally we do a Zoom and everybody's online and we're featuring customers sharing their stories, but we figured since everybody is here today, why not have some of our famous employees and some of our favorite customers jump in and share their stories with everybody. And I thought we'd kick things off with you. You did a great keynote for everybody yesterday morning. Really gave us the lay of the land, and it was a beautiful presentation. And I'd like you to summarize that in 5 minutes.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So it's been 10 years since Kuali was formed as a standalone company. What are your major observations over that time as CEO? What have you noticed, and what are you excited about in the future?
do you want to summarize the presentation or answer that question?
Let's start with that question. Yeah, let's talk about the last 10 years.
Last 10 years have been amazing. So 10 years ago, we went from a foundation into a company. So the foundation created Kuali. So it's a bunch of colleges and universities that wanted to take these solutions that they built to the next level so that we could hire professional customer success and professional sales and marketing and developers and designers or whatever. So we gave birth to this company. And in the last 10 years, it's grown like crazy. We have hundreds of customers, colleges, and universities. Our latest product is called Kuali Build, and that's a no-code forms and workflow tool, and it works very well with all the rest of the products. So, we've been talking a lot about those products and Build and how they integrate at this conference.
Right. And so one of the things that you mentioned yesterday was how we're moving to the platform. We have a new generation of solutions for higher education built on this Kuali platform. Can you talk a little bit about what the platform is and what that means for the future of our software and the future of software in higher education?
Yeah, we have a bunch of different applications, and they were all using different code bases. And it just meant that we had developer teams that were working on each of these. And when they would do a new feature, we didn't necessarily get that. Every time we do a new feature, the feature shows up for all of our products at the same time. So it makes us a lot faster in developing code, makes our code more stable. And it allows a more common user experience for all of our different products, which there are some faculty members that use all of our products.
Right.
And so having them look and feel and all the same is it.
So on that, so what I'm thinking about is the idea of developing on a unified platform. Okay. So you talk about building a feature once, and where it has application or utility across our product lines, we can ship it 5 times, which is awesome. But can you talk a little bit about the release cycle, how Kuali updates its software? Because it's really different from other companies that I've experienced in the past.
Yeah, you bet. And all of the products that are on the new platform, we use a process called continuous delivery. And what that means is that when we have a lot of automated testing, and when we create a new feature, an enhancement, or a bug fix, we go through all of our automated tests to make sure that there aren't problems, and we release that when it's ready. So we don't batch up everything and ship it every 2 years or every year and a half or even every 6 months. We do it as it's ready. So if there was a bug fix, we fix it, we get it out right away. If there's a small enhancement and it's not going to be disruptive to customers, but they'll be delighted and happy to see it, we release it immediately. If it's a big feature, what we do is we allow our customers to play with it, the administrators of the software to play with the sandbox environment. They test it, play with it, make sure that they like it. And when they're ready, then they can ship it to their customers. So
I like that as a user because I don't have to, like when Apple does its OS updates, they introduce, 10 major new features, and they're cool, but it's so overwhelming to learn everything all at once. And I could probably take that stuff on if they were to introduce it one at a time, spread out over time, right, as they were available.
Yeah, administrative software is very different than that. Administrative software, people like new things that they can do, but they don't like to be surprised, and they don't want their workflow to be disrupted. They do things the same. I mean, there are still people in customers and colleges that are using mainframe computers, and they know that if they press function FV F3 that something is going to happen. And so that's not modern, but it's what they do, and it allows them to be fast. So we want to make sure that we don't present people problems where they have to change their workflow in a way that is uncomfortable really quickly, because they end up getting frustrated. So our customers they buy software for their users, and they want to delight their users. And so we always want to help them delight their users instead of making it hard for them.
Right. Yeah. No, cool. So, I mean, time saving is one of the things that keeps coming up here at Kuali Days. We have a lot of customers presenting their success stories and their learning and everything else. And I think we were just hearing from our friends over at UConn, and they were talking about how they, have taken processes that used to take months, and now, through endless email and whatnot, and scaled it back to a matter of hours, right? Through some of the workflows that they build. As you think back to some of the presentations that you've had in here at Kuali Days, are there any favorites that come to mind, or any stories that customers shared that you thought, wow, like this is one that really captures what we're trying to do as a company to bring that value?
There are a couple of one of my favorite sessions, were the design sessions. So we'll bring a lot of customers into a room, we'll get out big giant whiteboards, and we'll design with the customers. So we're coming up with a new dashboard for our curriculum management system, and it's going to put together all of the most important information about the curriculum management process. And we asked our customers to help us design it. So we were drawing pie charts and whatever, and we'll have that dashboard configured this week. So that was a really, really fun process. The other ones are, I sat through about 6 of the sessions where people were just talking about new build apps that they created. An app is a combination of a form and a workflow. I want to automate a program change request form, or I want to automate a no-cost extension for research administration, or whatever. I'm shocked at the number and diversity of apps that our customers have built, from admissions to financial aid to registrar related apps, financial services, HR, alumni, sports, parking. Like, so many different apps have been built in the last year. It's interesting because the number of Kuali build apps that people had built, submissions that customers had submitted in 2022 doubled, and it doubled again in 2023. And we anticipate it's going to more than double in 2024. And that's because of the diversity of apps that are being created across the enterprise. So not only are we adding a lot of customers, those customers are adding a lot of apps.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were talking about that yesterday, the thought that came to mind for me was, first of all, that's awesome to see that, like, doubling every year effect. It means that people have found something that's really useful to them. And that's great. Like, that's why we do what we do, but what I was thinking was, I was trying to put that in terms of emails sent, PDFs that had to be filled out, right? Or even like paper forms, and so when you talk about more than 2 million submissions, and this is really just over the last, 4 years, really, maybe even less, because I think we started counting 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So pretty remarkable stuff. So, well, let me ask this final question, and then I'll hunt somebody down to be my next victim here. But as you think about the next 10 years with Kuali, and some of our big pie in the sky ideas and aspirations that we have as a company, what are you most excited about as you think about Kuali 10 years from now?
10 years from now.
Are we talking flying cars here? Are we going to finally deliver on that promise of cold fusion? Is that happening? Well, let me ask you this. All right, I'll finish the question, but I'm going to plant a seed. You also have a lot of thoughts around AI, and I know our audience is curious to hear from you on how you see AI fitting into not just Kuali, but higher education administrative software. All right, so that was a lot.
Yeah. In the next 10 years, I think that higher education is going to change fundamentally, and we're already seeing that change, and that change is going to continue to happen. So the goal of our administrative software is to help colleges and universities do what they need to do. So in cases where the university or college is not changing very much, we want to support them in that. In the case where they're changing a ton and it's volatile and registrations are dropping, or they're moving internationally, or they're doing more skills-based learning, or they're doing more in-home, or they're using AI for their education, we want to be there to support that, whether it's research administration or student administration, continuity planning, or anything else.
Right on.
I don't know if that answers your question.
It sure did, Joel. I appreciate you taking some time. You've been running around a lot today, so thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
man.
have fun. All right. So thanks to Joel for joining us. On deck here, we have my new friend, Don Nahas, joining us from Sacramento State University, California. Don, welcome. All right. He's still working on lunch there a little bit, but
Hopefully I have
what are they
nothing in my
serving up
teeth.
today? How's the food been?
Chicken's been, I mean, the food's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's been really good, even the snacks. And I heard someone complained about the cheese plate, but I thought it was great.
Well, we went small on the cheese plate because we wanted to open up the palate, if you will, to allow for more beer and wine into the system,
That
right?
worked so well.
Just to kind of get that
There you
social
go.
going,
There you
right?
go.
On Sunday night. So
Yeah,
Don,
you can't have too much food spitting out as you're talking
Yeah.
to people.
so let's back up. Tell us who you are, where are you from? I already introduced you. This is Don Nahas, folks from Sacramento State. Tell us what you do over there at Sac State.
So I'm the software and data analyst, which sounds really great.
Yeah.
But
You do a lot with emergency planning, which is kind of on brand right here with the perfect,
Just
as
for
well
this
timed.
one,
Yeah.
So I made a call,
Yeah.
and that's why they're coming. And then I told them to honk the horn a few times. So
Well, they did. They certainly did their job there.
Yeah,
Well
so
done, team.
that's what I
Excellent.
do. That's
Yeah.
what I do. So basically what I work with is the quality product. So the quality ready. I'm the one that's responsible for people understanding it.
Let me stop you there. So, can you tell us what Kuali Ready is and what that means for Sac State?
No.
Okay.
It's
I can try to do that.
It's our business continuity plan maker, I guess you would
Okay.
say.
All right.
Software to be able to create a business continuity plan and also host it and allow you to update it as needed, typically annually. But if someone changes position, moves out of the department, or retires, or something else happens, then we can update that on easily in the cloud.
So I've learned a lot about this in the past 2 days because I had a really kind of vague understanding of what emergency management and like emergency plans was all about. I didn't understand the depth and breadth involved with business continuity planning. Can you talk a little bit about who needs a business continuity plan at a major university like Sac State?
Well, in California, every state agency is required by the governor to have that. It's an executive order. And then our CEO our CEO for the university requires it, and so does the president. So everyone's required. But the idea is it's to put all your information, like critical functions or essential functions within your department, that need to be taken care of during a time of disruption. And that disruption could be anywhere from a busted pipe that you can't get into your office for a week, electricity being out for a month in your office and you have to relocate, or I think possibly a pandemic. I don't know if that will ever happen, but making them, putting something together where
I just got your joke.
yeah, there you go. That's a come up, Paul.
Pandemic, that's crazy. No way.
What was interesting in 2020, I was at the conference, the Kuali Days in Utah, and Terry, who's at that time was putting together the ready side, she mentioned, "Oh yeah, pandemic." I'm like, "But there's not going to be a pandemic." And I felt like that dinosaur, the two dinosaurs at the end. There's a meme of two dinosaurs standing at the edge of the water, and Noah's ship, the ark's pulling away. You go, "Oh, was that today?" And so are you prepared? That's the thing. We want to make sure that if anything happens, we're prepared.
Yeah.
It has all your critical functions that need to be taken care of while that disruption's going on, and who to contact.
Yeah.
And who your major players are inside and outside the university.
Yeah. So that's thank you. That does a good job of explaining what it is. And now I understand the breadth, right? Just you really need, the sky's the limit. Like you can go crazy with all the different possibilities of things that can go wrong and things that you need to be, prepared for. So and then having software to manage that, right? Especially as you said, if you have personnel changes, right? That changes on the back end. Your plans, as I understand it, all of your plans automatically update as those personnel changes are happening, right?
Yes, well, you have to go in and update it, but
The personnel file,
yeah,
right?
correct. I mean, we're not, so depending on, I think the new system that's coming out will automatically change that, but right now, currently, we don't have it.
Yeah. So what Don's talking about there is we now have Kuali Ready on the platform, one of our next gen products, right? And you're using
Everyone gets it.
everybody gets it. That's
That
right.
should have been the theme of this
Of this webinar. Yeah.
the Blossom thing. It should have been. I'm talking about the conference, because it seemed like everyone kept saying everyone gets it, because there's so much that this new platform is allowing us to do that, like I said, everyone gets it.
Yeah, what he's talking about is our CTO, Tad Giles, on Monday was talking about all the new features, like the
Yes.
roadmap and everything that was
Yes.
coming. And he was talking about the platform. As Joel was mentioning earlier, when we find utility in other products, if we build a new gadget, into one of our products, we're like, yeah, our folks over, our friends in Ready or research,
Yeah.
they would love this. So we just ship it, across
There
the
you go.
board. So
Building that platform, I think I didn't realize the depth of it, but it is incredible. I mean, it started with build, correct?
the platform did, yes. Yeah.
And then they just decided to build it with everyone getting it. So I mean, it sounds punny, but it truly is just a wonderful idea to have that.
Yeah, cool. All right, give me one of your favorite stories or takeaway from Kuali Days 2024. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that question back. I have a question for you.
I was gonna say the steak dinner on Sunday.
Steak dinner was great, but what a lot of people don't know about Kuali Days is we have a tradition of karaoke.
Oh man.
Yeah, and Don here last night, he really wowed the audience with pretty incredible performance. I think you did a Johnny Cash song to kick things.
That was Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks to kick things off. Good safe karaoke choice, because half the bar knew the lyrics already. So
and I screwed up a few of them, so they didn't see it because they're already singing it for me. And then we did a duet with Danny. What was that song? It's Elton John, "Don't Go Breaking My Heart." And then I finished up with a Cars song, which I totally forgot the words, but it was you shook me, no, you kept me going till the sun went down. Kept me.
Hey, listen, I can get a track going right now.
You could, that would be great.
Off the mic.
There we go.
Pick up where we left off last
I
night.
don't remember the name of the song now.
All right.
It was the last one, but yeah, that one I
Cool.
messed up the most.
Well, Don, thank you. Appreciate
pleasure,
you
Paul.
stepping in and filling in here.
Yeah.
And we'll look
Well,
forward
I
to
have
hearing
to
more
say
from you.
one thing about this conference is it's been a great opportunity to meet new people and just and get new friendships. And I think having the Kuali Days and seeing people that are working on the same products you're working on, and then just across the board, just being able to do it has just been fun. So I know that you got a lot of people here, but I just wanted to tell you that's probably been my favorite, because if it wasn't for Kuali Days, I wouldn't have met you.
Right.
So, and you're basically my neighbor.
Yeah, we're Sacramento.
Yeah.
Right. I'm up in Rockland. So
Yeah,
there
I
you
mean,
go.
it's just up I-80, a few miles and 6 hours in traffic.
Yeah, cool.
So, okay,
Right, I'm
take care.
done. Thank you.
My pleasure,
Yeah,
man.
we'll talk later. All right. Let's see. So now I have the challenge of trying to figure out who's next. Yeah, come on over. Here's Missy. Another one of our fabulous Kuali Ready, supremely excellent, wonderful customer / product manager. Hello. Everybody with me now is Missy Cruz, and you need to scoot over this way a little bit. All right, there we go. Missy, so let's do some basic introductions. Tell us a little bit about where you're from. I'd like to hear a little bit about what you used to do and then what you're doing now.
Okay, perfect. Actually in higher education for over 32 years, kind of went to college and never left. So it's kind of an interesting way to
That's funny.
stay in school.
So I started in K-12, right? And then I like to say I graduated into higher education. So yeah.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Yep,
So
never-
you're just one of those lifetime learners.
Lifetime learners, yes. Did a lot majority of my time there in student housing, which was a fantastic area to work in. Had to deal with students on so many levels. It was just a joy to be around them that much.
Now, was it a real joy or was it a joy?
You know what? There were some amazingly great times, and then there were some challenging times.
Okay.
It kept us always on our toes.
All right.
But from there, I moved into emergency management, which it was a nice transition from housing, because housing, there's always something different going on. And I just fell in love with emergency management. And in that role, I was asked to create a continuity of operations program. And that's how I found Kuali Ready. We use the Ready tool, which is their continuity of operations software solution. And just really loved the product. And
Now, did you start when you started doing these business continuity plans? Did you start with Ready initially?
start with
all right,
Ready.
all right.
Yes, I was very fortunate when I started in that role and was given the responsibility of starting the whole program. That some wonderful person had just become a customer of the Ready team, and so I walked in, and it was kind of like a brand new present sitting there waiting for me.
So one of the things I'm trying to wrap my head around is trying to work with a dean or someone at the departmental level about like, you need to put these plans in place. And how do you address that cultural shift of trying to get people on board with like going through because it is an exercise, like it's like a personal tabletop exercise that you have to go through to think about what is the thing I need to be prepared for, and then how do I prepare? So how do you get over that?
It's a constant exercise. It's unfortunately not a practice that's really in the culture of, it's not a common thing, and nobody really has it as a job. It's just kind of somebody inherits the role, and the all other duties is assigned kind of situation, and people really run with it, and it's fascinating when to oversee people overcome the challenges. It was really having those hard conversations with people in leadership roles to be able to say, hey, they're not fun things to talk about, but in the event that something happens, are we prepared? Are we ready? How do we continue our business? How do we keep our staff safe? How do we keep our preservation of life and assets? We want to make sure that we can continue our business, make sure everybody is safe. And really the only way to do that is have those conversations about what ifs, and document it, and then and also share that with people at all levels.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody's informed.
So we do research administration also. And so anybody who's worked in research before has a story or knows about a story about somebody who's lost all their, Petri dishes, or like a 5-year, research project that's gone down the tube. So having those plans to kind of prevent that sort of thing from happening. All right, fast forward, Missy Cruson, 2024, you're here at Kuali Days and you're presenting because you have a new hat that you're wearing for Kuali, as I understand it.
Yes, I am. Have been working with the Kuali Ready team on redesigning the Ready product. So
Ready on platform, right?
Ready on platform, and we are really excited to be able to kind of roll that out and share the new look and feel and functionality and configurability, and it's just an amazing product. It's really cool. We've gotten some awesome feedback from our end users here at the conference and sharing some stuff, and they're really raring to go on getting on the new platform.
Love to hear it. All right, one big takeaway from Kuali Days 2024. What was your favorite moment, or learning, or aha moment, or connection, or karaoke moments? What's going to be your favorite memory?
Well, my goodness, this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to be at a Kuali Days in person. So meeting people that I have met remotely has just been amazing, and I really I wish we could do it more often. I think the in-person collaboration, meeting people, being able to talk about stuff, I've learned a lot just from my session team members, and I just really keep connections and keep those dialogues open, because no reason to recreate the wheel. We're all out here trying to do the same thing, and there's so much experience and value in working together. So
awesome. Well, Missy, thank you so much. Thanks for
you.
taking the time. Appreciate your help. Awesome. All right. Yeah, here comes my friend Brian. I don't think we did speak briefly. All right. So Brian, welcome. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. Can you help me out?
It is Scrivener with a hard C.
Scrivener with a hard C. I should have brought my sunglasses, darn it.
And I hope you check that microphone in the wind too.
Well, you know what? We're sort of shooting from the hip here today. We're just sort of taking things as they come. I think our audience is probably getting a lot of they already got all the emergency vehicles going by. So, all right. So tell us, where are you from and what do you do?
So I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I am, I believe technically I'm the program director for workflow automation at University of Missouri in Kansas City. I've been in higher ed and IT for 25 years, a little more. Let's see, 22 and then 3 and now 2, so 27. Long time. Seen a lot of problems, solved a few of them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what does that work look like? What product are you using How long have you been using that product, or Kuali product, I should specify? We're not talking about Word and Excel. You probably use a lot of products, right? But so Kuali specifically, like, what's your experience been working with Kuali software?
So we are on Kuali build, and that's the only product we have. So we're native to next gen, I guess, which is good. We've been on it less than a year. I've done a few pretty good sized apps, but not very many. And right now I'm the only one sort of building those. We haven't opened that up to community development yet. What I've learned here is everyone else is doing community development, and I'm the only one trying to do this all by myself. So I think those are some conversations we're excited to have when we get back.
So talk to me a little bit more about that. What is community development? What does that translate in the context of Kuali build?
So we looked at it as an IT service when we brought it in. And so if the registrar's office needs an app built, we looked at it as, okay, this is something IT is going to build for you. And we have, when I look at it now, I'm going to back up a little bit and tell you why we're doing what we're doing. Right. I love helping students. I love making people's jobs easier with processes, but it's compliance that I lose sleep over. And I don't know how many people know this, but just on the 8th of April, there was a press release from ADA, from Department of Justice, actually. The Attorney General is about to sign new Title II rules in the ADA. And when he does that, they're all targeted at digital accessibility. So anything you have that's web content in any way whatsoever, your coursework, your forms.
Right.
Where this really is going to hit people is PDFs. They're horrible for compliance. So anybody working in this space, if you have any responsibility for that stuff, first, go read that new rule. It's at ada.gov. It's 400 pages.
Okay.
Then go to your school's
light reading before bedtime. Yeah, just,
after dinner. You'll probably want a couple of cocktails. Then go to your school's website. Just type PDF in your search bar. See how many results you get. You won't sleep for a week.
Yes.
And so we need to tackle that. And what I'm realizing after being here is I'm not going to be able to solve all of that alone. Like, we have to have departments building their apps.
Cool. Yeah. So you're going to need, in order to scale, right?
Right.
And I kind of like that idea because it allows people to control be masters of their own domain a little bit, right? They can build their own apps.
Compliance is a great tool, though. You can weaponize it to drive adoption.
Right.
And that's one of the hardest things about opening it up to that community, develop your own apps, is getting them to actually do it. And so now we've got that ball bat. It's like the government's coming. You're going to have, depending on the size of your institution, 2 or 3 years to be fully compliant with the new rules. And if you've got 10,000 PDFs, that's scary.
Yeah. I can't imagine how daunting that task might be, but I'm seeing a lot of hope from some of the stories that we've heard today in some of these build sessions. All right. So Kuali Days 2024, is this your first time?
It is. Yeah.
What is your impression so far? What's your favorite moment from Kuali Days?
I'm really loving today. Weather-wise, I mean, this is such a beautiful place to have it, but we got here, it was freezing cold on Sunday. I came and did this.
Yeah, we got robbed. It was raining. I'm like, what is happening?
It's freezing cold on Monday too. And so, today finally it's really started to turn around. I got to fly back. So, but I think the keynote today was fantastic. Susan was amazing. Really enjoyed the Monday keynote as well.
Can you talk a little bit about what her keynote was?
Well, so her keynote was all about different generations working together in the workplace, and how we can collaborate with each other despite being brought up in completely different worlds and having completely different worldviews on everything. And there's a real line. I guess there are 4 now, all in the workplace at the same time, which is unprecedented. And there's a real line between boomers and Gen X are kind of over here. And I guess the millennials and Gen Y are kind of over there. And she really, I think, gave us some tools to help understand each other better and sort of drive that need that the only way forward is all of us working together.
Right.
Because we can't design systems, as I'm a Gen X, or me and the boomers are not going to be able to build systems that work for the generations that are coming.
Right.
They won't make any sense to them.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was good session. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking some time today. I enjoyed meeting you and hearing your story. So
Appreciate it.
Good luck, and we'll see you next year. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Brian. So what's happening now, you guys? This is kind of an awkward. Oh, here comes Pauline. Wow, I was just about to scramble and try to figure out what to do, but here comes my friend Pauline. Some of you may know Pauline Fetters. She is a diva on our customer success team. Thanks for joining us, Pauline.
Guys.
Yeah, so Pauline, tell us a little bit about where you're from, how long you've been with Kuali, and what you do at Kuali.
So I'm based here in Santa Barbara, California, not too far from where we're at in Long Beach, but I'm customer success manager, a senior customer success. So I work really closely with our build customers. And that means everything from onboarding and implementation and training them. I've been doing this for about 2 years exactly now. It is my passion. I like to instead call myself the happiness manager here. And that's really just because no, I just want to make sure they're happy and they're satisfied and they love build. And I'd like to think
sounds like an HR role though.
yes, I know it is a little HR, but instead, and they are happy. They walk out of implementation. They're just like, you're changing our lives, our jobs. You're giving me job security. How often do you hear that? And so that's really my role and what I focus on.
All right. So you primarily focus on helping customers get on their feet with our build products.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So you're picking them up post sales, and we'll talk to Liz and Danny here in a minute,
Nice.
right? So and so this is their first experience diving in. So what does that process look like? How long does it take for an average customer to kind of get on their feet with build, start building their own forms and workflows and really kind of take off?
Yeah, I would say immediately. Honestly, truly, they should get the value of build within a week, if not days. I have met with them once during a kickoff call when the sales team hands it over. They get access to their environments. They're like, "Oh, we're building forms already, but nice to meet you." So it's really they're seeing that value the minute it's drag and drop. It's so easy to build.
Yeah.
If they know their process, they're meeting with me and they get it. It really doesn't take any coding. It doesn't need any technical knowledge. So I'd say within days, in weeks, sometimes they're building their workflows and they're just excited and running with it.
Cool. Do you have a there's been a lot of great sessions. Do you have a favorite session so far that you've either attended or stories that you've heard, or maybe even not from Kuali Days? Do you have a favorite success story from a customer that you like to brag about? Yeah.
There's one that I really like, and it's the one where someone recently, I think Brian was just here. He just told me that he had a form that his students, it would take about 3 to 6 weeks, and they were running around campus. They didn't know where these faculty members were. So that's one. Now they can get it done in 2 days instead of 6 weeks. Mind blowing. But session wide, we just got out of one with UConn, Bakersfield. The use cases are what blows my mind. Especially during the pandemic. It's just like really transform them. They again just change their life, really change people's lives. And that's that happiness part. And that's where I think I come in. And I'm like, yes, you are happy, you are satisfied, and everybody's lives are better. I heard stories about students crying because they didn't know where their paychecks were coming. And this really, that workflow and consistency is what helped. And I just live for stuff like that.
Yeah. So our friends at Fresno like to talk about student expectations, right? And when particularly Gen Z and then following them, Gen Alpha, you throw a PDF at these guys and they're like, what the heck is this? Like we're in the dark ages here, and they get like really angry, so trying to alleviate that pain with something that sort of meets them where they're at. Right.
Yeah, and I would just comment on that. I have a story where, they want a student wants a job, and they're like, a form. I'm good. I'm good. I'll find a job elsewhere. But it really is daunting as a millennial myself. I really share that with people, and no one wants to print anymore who has a printer.
Right.
And then just to go on printing
Or ink in the
or
printer.
ink in the printer. God, what a scam. But there's just so many stories with the paper. I really quickly had someone told me they use 2.6 million pieces of paper a year. I mean, environmental impact,
Yeah.
2.6 million. Their budget was cut by 75% for supplies for paper only. Insane where that money can be reallocated. So just stuff like that
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
That's awesome. Okay. So, how many times? This is your first in-person Kuali Days, right?
It's in person, but being here for 2 years, I was here for the 2 years ago, the virtual, when I was literally 2 days into the job. Because
Okay, go.
yeah, I go to like literally, and I was like, okay. And because you can get the product so quickly, I knew kind of what I was talking about. And that's again how easy it is to use. So yeah, this is my first in person.
All right. So what do you think?
I
How-
love it. Oh my God. Because just my job is working with customers. So being able to meet everybody. And I think I've had a couple people and they're like, you remember my name. You sometimes don't see me on camera. And I'm like, of course, I know everybody's name. I remember their stories. I ask how their kids are, how their flight was from, because I know exactly where they live. So just being able to connect the faces and the names of people, and they remember me and I remember them is so special.
Yeah, it's been neat to meet people in person. We live in a online, especially, you know, the way we're set up as a company with everybody kind of spread out. It's always a great reunion. Well, Pauline, thank you so much for taking some time for your lunch. I knew there were a lot of people. We have a ton of customers
Yay.
who are on today who couldn't make it out.
Love it.
So they were excited to hear from you as well.
Good to see everyone.
All right. Thanks,
Paul.
Pauline. All
Yeah.
right, we'll see you. All right, gang. Let's see. I'm glancing over at my green room over here, and I'm wondering if Danny might be, and Liz, grab a chair, Danny. Grab a chair, and let's see if we can. It's gonna be a tight fit, but I think we can squeeze in and get the three of us in here. All right, so this is our sales extraordinaires here, our sales divas, Team Kuali, our two vice presidents of consultation and sales. I wanted everyone to meet you. We have a lot of current customers who know you well from all across the spectrum. So we invited across all of our product lines. We had research folks here, CM, you know, build, ready, everybody. And we have a lot of folks who are kicking the tires on Kuali and trying to learn about us as a company. So where to start with you two? Let's see. You know what I'd like to ask? Let's just start with this. How long have you been with Kuali? And let's just start with that. How long have you been with Kuali, Danny?
So my entire tenure at the company is coming up on about 4.5 years now.
Yeah.
I did take a little bit of a break and
You took a break, but you came back.
back. I did.
We couldn't stay away. We found you.
The community just it drew me back in, the products, everything. It's like coming home. So
Yeah.
it's been great. Yeah.
And Liz, how about you?
About 6 years.
6 years. Okay, awesome. Now, let's talk. So I've had various employees from the company talk about what they do at Kuali. Sales is an important, probably I'd say one of the, if not the most important step in a customer journey, because it's their first impression of a company. It's where expectations are set. Can you talk a little bit about what the sales process, Danny? I'll start with you and then we'll go over to Liz.
Yeah, so it kind of depends on the product, what we're looking at and what the institution is doing, but there's usually we like to do discovery and figure out what makes the most sense. How does Kuali fit into the ecosystem? And then we do demos and evaluations and consultory, more style conversations, and then we go into contracting and then implementation and then kickoff. So it's a pretty fun process that's really anchored around discovery and education of what really actually makes sense at the university.
Yeah, and Liz, I see you nodding. You're a big believer in being a straight shooter with customers early on, level setting those expectations, and also making sure it's a match, right? Not everyone is ready for a quality product in their own journey with their university, right? Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's part of our published sales philosophy that our goal isn't a sale. That doesn't do us just a sale doesn't do anything for us. Our goal is a delighted customer. So the question is how do we actually establish and become partners with a delighted customer? And that goes to exactly what you were talking about. That discovery process that Danny was talking about and the evaluation process. We want you to understand exactly what our product can do, what it can't do. And then we find that medium of, are we a good fit? And we believe we are, obviously.
Right.
But we want zero implementation surprises. We want you to know the product that you're purchasing and understand what of your pain points and your problems it's going to solve, so that when you go into that implementation, it can be a smooth, wonderful experience and you can be delighted.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so We're at Kuali Days, finally back in person again. Everyone's super thrilled to be here. The weather finally cooperated. And I think by the time this webinar is over, I'm going to turn into a tomato, which is dumb because I have sunscreen up in my room. But what have your major observations been of Kuali Days so far?
Oh gosh, I think my favorite thing about Quality Days is seeing how our customers are not only using our products or using the tools in ways that they want to, but then also getting creative and being innovative in using tools in the products the ways that I don't even think we initially anticipated. And some of the examples come to mind, like UMass Amherst and Georgia. Oh my gosh, they're doing just amazing things. And that is so cool to see customers discover these things for themselves and then share it with the community to then also include their peers and us in these creative genuine ways, new ways of
Super
doing
duper
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liz, how about you? Any major aha moments or favorite stories from Kuali Days this year?
Yeah, I've had a couple of really great experiences where I'm sitting in the back of one of the sessions, and a customer is presenting, as Danny was talking about, something innovative, something cool, and I'm in the back of the session. I get to have these one-on-one Q&As with customers of our, well, how would I do this, and how I can open up my computer and I can have these really great one-off conversations with our customers that oftentimes our customers aren't going to call me up and say, hey, Liz, can I chat with you for 15 minutes about this thing I heard? Or I heard that UMass, like you said, is doing this or that. And so we have that ability to just have all of those one-on-one conversations here.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. So where was I going to go next? I think that might be all I have for the two of you. I wanted everyone to meet our wonderful sales team. Now, not included in the picture here, we have our community engagement coordinators. We have a team including Olivia and Pete, and his team as well. They make the initial contact with folks and try to gauge interest and get folks queued up for the two of you. So they're here as well. I don't know, maybe one of them will swing by later.
Yeah, it's really a team effort.
All right. So my final question. Danny, something pretty remarkable happened recently, last night, in fact. There were multiple witnesses to this event. I understand you had the performance of a lifetime at our karaoke bar. Tell us a little bit, what's your go-to karaoke song? And maybe you can demonstrate a couple dance moves for us here.
Oh goodness. So my go-to karaoke, I will admit that I keep a good repertoire in place because karaoke is a staple at Kuali and I like to keep it fresh for myself. Last night I did sing I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett. And I think
Standard, one of the standards.
yeah, I think I also did Total Eclipse of I did Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. So those are two go-tos. The dance moves are impromptu. They're not repeatable. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were inspired. A lot of interpretive dance happening last night. Well, you took the house down. Everybody was really just wild. It was great. So thank you for that also. Got a free show out of Kuali Days this year. So, all right. Thank you guys very much. Enjoy your lunch. We'll catch up later. So, we may have one more. Here comes Kat. We may have a customer queued up. Here comes Angelina. Awesome. Thanks, Eric. It's nice to have somebody out there rounding people up for me. I'm going to scoot over here and we're going to reposition. All right, welcome. So Angelina, I want to get your last name, Steiner, from Northeast Ohio Medical University. Awesome. So welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this on the spot, totally unprompted, but I'll make this easy for you. Okay. So tell us what you do for the university.
Yeah, so my official title is director and ERA manager. So I manage.
Stop you there. So ERA is Electronic Research Administration, right?
Yes. So I manage our quality processes and I manage and provide that back-end support for all of our staff and faculty that are using our system. And I process our I do proposal submissions and I supervise. I have one employee I supervise and I assign proposals out to the team. So I essentially manage that pre-award process.
The pre-award process. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because we have a mixed audience here with people from all across the higher ed spectrum. So a lot of us aren't really entirely familiar with research administration. So I understand there's a pre-award and a post-award process. What does that mean?
So that pre-award process is from that time that faculty member or staff member wants to submit a grant. They provide a timely submission to us, and they let us know, hey, I want to, submit a proposal. I'm going to do an RO1 proposal, and it's due in June. And and I would like to submit that. And so then I look on our calendar and I determine, who should take on that proposal. And so I sign out a proposal, and then that faculty member works with our sponsor program administrator in that process. So they start, they get the project date. They find out, are you going to have any sub awards? Will there be an external collaborator? So they sort of find out all that information so that we can start that quality record and get that record started. And then we just start that process and we start working with them on that budget. And we do all of that, and they start giving us documents, and we connect it if it's going to be a system to system. So we just, doing all of that. So essentially the pre-award is, from start to finish, that official sort of notification of that proposal submission, plan proposal submission, and then through to the actual submission.
Right. So in summary, a lot. Like it's a lot. And so as I started to learn more about research administration, I was really blown away by how big it could be. Right. And so like, it's not just one big topic, but a bunch of little areas. And each one of those areas have so many P's and Q's that you have to put out for it. Right. And so that's where having software help manage that process, make sure that you check all the boxes. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially for something like NIH, where there is room for error, and having a system that you can validate, you can just hit that, have it turn on the whole entire time. And you're seeing, okay, I'm missing this, the ERA Commons ID, which is required to submit. We have a sub and they don't have their UAI number. So, some of those things, it's going to catch that, and you're able to print and see that proposal and see how it will look in comments. And so you're able to see, oh, this might be an issue, so we need to fix this.
Right. So now you're using the current version of Kuali Research, right? And we've had a lot of sessions. Well, the classic. Yeah. I mean, it's still really like,
yeah.
So have you gotten a look at research on platform, and do you have any initial impressions of what you've seen so far?
Yeah. So I think the new, the next gen suite, it looks pretty cool. It looks, it's sort of, it looks cutting edge. It looks cleaner. And I think it's going to be a great product. So we'll eventually be there and move there, but so old habits are hard to kick. So
Perfect. Good answer. All right. I got $5 for you after the interview. So excellent answer. So, all right. So final question. Is this your first Kuali Days?
it is.
Okay. So first impressions, what is your major observation of Kuali Days? Do you think you want to come back next year?
Well, yes, I definitely will want to come back. So I've been working with Kuali for about 6 years, but this is only my sort of entering my 3rd year of being an administrator. So I definitely will be advocating for that to be in our budget so that I can attend another Kuali Days, because I think just the information that you're getting, and it's really intense. Like, we're having fun, but it's really intensive. The workshops are intensive, the information, and people are always, we're not just playing here.
Right. Yeah.
You see everybody has their laptop open taking notes, and some people are actually submitting grants and still working, doing their professional work, from home, and also trying to learn at the same time. So it's really intense, but it's really important to also connect with other people and understand that no matter the size of your institution, whether you're a small or a big research institution with many, many campuses, we all have similar struggles. And so it's nice to be able to get together and talk about some of those struggles and how we can make improve the product, and just really being able to connect with all of the Kuali people, all of the Kuali staff, and having those connections, because we only really see each other, through Zoom or email. And so it's like putting an actual person with, that face that you've seen, and just continuing to build those relationships. And really, it just makes it really feels like we're all sort of family, friends, and
Right.
it's just really, it's a different, I've been to a lot of different conferences throughout my years, and this is probably one of my most favorite ones. It just feels
Favorite
like everybody
conference.
has
So you
been
heard it
there.
here, folks. All right. Angelina, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so
No, no,
much.
no,
I
thank
appreciate
you for
being a
having
good
me.
sport. Yeah.
thank
Have
you.
fun.
Yeah.
Bye now. All right. Eric, who have you got next? Kat? Everyone's going to be so excited to hear from you, Kat. Come on over here. So, for those of you who are new to Kuali, this is a face and a personality that you'll probably get to know at some point in the future. Kat, welcome. Thanks for joining us here today. Let's back up a little bit. Start at the beginning. Tell us about you were doing before Kuali, how, and then what you're doing now for Kuali.
So I think like a lot of our programs office
Base being
being sort of the grandfather of, yeah, in 2014, I sort of started transitioning into more of the Kuali Koya's world, Kuali research world. And then I joined Kuali in 2016. So going on many of our customers.
yeah. So a lot has changed over the years, and now here we are with Platform. I'd like to hear your perspective on Platform. As you've been talking to customers, their reaction to it, what you're excited about, just anything related to Platform.
Yeah, I'm going to use Pauline's term. It's a game changer. I think over the last, few months, I've really spent a lot of time in the next gen research platform application, and it just blew my mind. A lot of the things that we are currently sort of limited as to what we can do in quality research is now readily available. Workflow engine is so robust, and we can just do all these crazy things, modify notifications, and I'm just excited. I'm very excited about sort of the future of Kuali research, as well as Kuali student and all of the other products that are going to move onto the platform.
Yeah, the workflow is pretty neat. I understood conceptually workflow, but being able to see it graphically laid out left to right and being able to manually drag and drop those steps around, it certainly has applications in the general context, thinking of build, but can you talk about how that would be helpful for folks in the research community?
Yeah, so, sometimes the proposal development or proposal approval workflow could be pretty complicated. Sometimes it requires conditional approvals or approvals based on certain criteria in a proposal. And at least currently in our current application, the way that that's configured, it is pretty complicated. It takes a little bit of manipulation to get it set up. With a drag and drop workflow and very intuitive sort of conditioning that's built into the platform version of Kuali research, it's anyone could do it. Whereas before, it does take a little bit of practice and patience to set it up. Now, any system admin will be able to go and set it up based on their needs.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, all right, final question. What is your favorite memory from Kuali Days 2024?
Oh my God. I have a lot of, I'm just excited how well it went. I think I was a little nervous at first because it was the first Kuali Days, in a few years, first one in person, and just seeing everybody and seeing how everyone is excited about the direction we're going and asking the great questions. I've attended a lot of the build sessions, and my mind is just blown with how many use cases there are. So I'm just excited. I just have all these ideas when we go back to work next week. And
Oh, hey, listen, as the marketing guy, right, getting all these stories from everybody, I've been taking notes, right? So a lot of them, you'll be getting calls from me. So, Kat, thank you. Appreciate your time jumping in at the last second. Yeah, we'll see you around. Have a great Kuali Days. All right. Last but not least, certainly is a personality I think many of you will know and recognize. Our friend, Kuali extraordinaire, Vicky Kulig. Vicky, thanks for agreeing to join us here today. Let's swing around over here. I asked Vicky to join us just because I know, she's worked with so many of you, and Vicky, you've been around for a while, right? When did you first join Kuali?
About almost 3 years.
3 years now, 3 years. And what is your primary focus as a customer success manager at Kuali?
Primarily, I'm working with students, largely in support, just to make sure that they're getting everything that they need, taking care of any bugs that they have, or helping them, answer any questions, and trying to make sure that we have our knowledge base up to date so that they can get that information that they want to make sure that they're as successful as they can be.
So when we have a lot of people joining across the higher education spectrum. So when Vicky says student, you're referring to our curriculum and catalog management solutions, right? Okay, so talk to me a little bit more about the knowledge base. I've heard that come up a bunch of times. What is the knowledge base and how do our customers use it?
So we use Zendesk as a ticketing system, and as part of that, it includes a knowledge base, which is essentially just a large place for us to store information about the products. And so we do have one for each of the products, and within that knowledge base, we have frequently asked questions. We have the documentation about how to use the various products. There will be different kinds of examples or information about new features that have come out, and we just go in there and we'll add information as stuff comes available, or if we need to like clarify something, we'll put that in there for folks as well. Just trying to make it so that people can potentially use that to find answers without having to necessarily put in a ticket if we've already covered it. To make
Right.
it easier.
I mean, so a lot of times I like to get my own answer. I don't want to have to talk to anybody, right? So I want to just go find the answer that I need, and knowledge base is great for that. But sometimes I just want to talk to somebody. Can you talk about what the process, somebody getting support from Kuali, what that looks like?
Yeah, typically if someone is wanting to talk to us directly, they're more than welcome to send us a ticket. Just give us a little bit of an overview of what they're looking for, what kind of questions they have. That way, if we need to grab somebody else or get some extra information, we can have that ready. And if we need to have a phone call, we certainly can do that. Most of the time, we can resolve things through email without having to have calls, but some folks do prefer. So, if they want one, they can ask for one and we can schedule that to meet up with them over the phone.
And what is the standard amount of time from the moment I submit a request to getting the support? Do we have a standard for that for turnaround time?
We do. It's very fast. I want to say the last time we had the metrics come through, I want to say it was something like 11 minutes for your first reply.
That's our average.
Yeah.
11 minutes from the time they submit a request to getting somebody, not saying get the answer, but getting support and having somebody work on it. 11 minutes. Yeah, well, just right now I'm flashing back to trying to go get support from the Genius Bar at the Apple Store, scheduling an appointment and standing around for hours. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I love to hear that. So, talk to me about bugs. So, one of the things that Joel said yesterday is we run bug-free software, which is something we aspire to do, right? We're not going to say that bugs don't happen. Bugs happen. But when you discover a bug, what does that process look like? Do customers usually find it first? How does that turn up? How do we address it? And then how does it get resolved?
It's pretty common if someone does come across a bug, then what they'll do is they'll first send it to us through a support ticket. Because a lot of times it's simply, is this a bug or am I just doing it right?
Right.
So then
Usually in my case, it's user error. So yeah.
And then from there, we can go in and we can take a look at it, and then we'll confirm based on either what we already know about the system, or we'll confirm with other folks within the company if this is actually broken or not. And then if it is, we'll go ahead and put in an additional ticket with the engineering folks so that they can review it, prioritize it accordingly, and then whenever it's ready, we'll be able to double check it once it's been published, and then we'll put out release notes to confirm and then respond to the people who initially reported it. For stuff on platform, that's definitely where they're going to see like extreme speed right now, because we're making sure that is as no bug as we can.
Shipshape. Yeah. Well, so on Slack, which is our internal messaging platform that we use to communicate internally in the company, I've been really blown away by how quick people are to respond to anything, right? Whether like it's a customer issue or an internal issue, someone's putting in a help desk internally for IT support. Just the amount of internal, I feel really supported as an employee, right? You've helped me on occasion, so I appreciate that. So anything else you want to add about being a customer success person, or anything about Kuali that you love or would be happy to share with our friends?
Yeah, working at Kuali has been really, really great. Everybody is surprisingly nice. Like, legitimately just the nicest people that you could ever work with. The first time I met everyone in person, people were asking me if they could just help me with my bag, and I'm barely know anybody. And it wasn't just like a one time because they were, trying to show off. It's every time. Everybody's just so nice and helpful. And, when everyone that you work with is so nice and it makes such a nice environment, it just makes it so that you don't really feel burnt out or you don't start to get jaded that everything is terrible. It just, everybody works together to make it great, which makes it for you to do your job your customers. So it's like everybody feels really supported and it's just so nice to be with such nice people all the time.
Yeah, I'll second that. No shade to my friends at Power School and Apple, some of my previous companies, but this is the best company I've ever worked for. It's really a lot of fun. Well, that's a great note to end on. Vicky, thank you so much for joining us. And I know everybody was excited to see you in person. And that's it for Kuali Days, live from Kuali Days. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Eric. Wait, come here, Eric. So this won't be a formal interview, but
No.
Eric, you've been helping me out, roping people into our interview here today. Eric from Fresno, our account executive for Ready.
Ready.
Yeah.
Business continuity.
All
Have
right.
a plan. Have a plan.
Have a plan. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate all of you very much. And with that, I'm going to now do this awkward moment where I look for the leave button on Zoom. I know it's in here somewhere. Here's the sky. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Later.